Welcome to Ecom Talk. Today we have a special guest, Eric Castellano, longtime successful Amazon seller who has built real result reselling and navigating an Amazon marketplace at a high level. He have managed over $500 million in sales.
Billion, yeah.
Crazy number. And today's topic is how to become successful on Amazon today. But before, Eric, tell your story, so everybody knows who you are.
Yeah. So what's up, everybody? Aleksejs, appreciate you having me on here. I've been selling on Amazon for 14 years. It'll be 14 years in just a couple months. So I'm an OG in this space. And to Aleksejs' point, we've done over $500 million in sales, and we've helped other sellers generate close to $4 billion in sales as well. So we have a lot of experience and been doing this for a very long time. But Amazon today is completely different than it was 14 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago. When I first started, it was all arbitrage, big club stores, Costco, BJ's, picking up in a van products every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And just like that hustle that I'm sure people listening to this are very familiar with and used to, just grinding it out, finding as many products as possible. And then after 2 or 3 years of doing that and growing to 5 or 6 million a year, we broke into wholesale, which was a game changer for us. More quantities, better pricing, just more growth opportunity. And then about 5 years ago, we started also getting into brand direct, brand exclusive, which gave us increased margins, less issues with Amazon as far as ungating and transparency enrollment. And we've been doing now a mix of wholesale, brand exclusive, private label for probably about 5 or 6 years now. It's been a game changer.
Yes, definitely. The game has changed a lot. Eric, in your experience, they also dealing a lot with the people who just starting to sell on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Because the game changed so much, what is your advice when you just starting? When you want to start small, because again, before it was just arbitrage, you buy products, small quantity, you can try it and you start scaling. But what is the strategy that they can use now in a similar way?
Yeah. So I think arbitrage is still viable for newer sellers. If you're buying from the right stores, you don't want to be buying from discounted retail stores. There's some issues with like TJ Maxx and stuff like that. But if you're buying from big retailers, and the products are legitimate, it's a great way to start because your investment cost is much lower, right? You don't have to spend $3,000-$4,000 on a wholesale order. You could start with $100, $200, $500 and kind of learn the game. I think that's where a lot of sellers make mistakes. They want to go full-fledged into this thing instead of easing their way into it. And so I always recommend start with, a few products, feel out what it's like to list a product, prep a product, ship a product, deal with the customer return before you invest thousands and thousands of dollars into an Amazon business.
Yeah, totally agree. At the beginning, you need to have the less risk possible, right?
Yeah.
Because so many things can go wrong, right? So you don't wanna risk a lot of capital at the beginning.
Yeah. And then one more thing I'd recommend is get a mentor, get somebody in your corner who has done this before and understands how to navigate Amazon, because Amazon's terms of service is always changing. That means their rules are changing and the marketplace is evolving, right? So it's complicated to stay up to date with all of that stuff when you're new. So if you can join a community where there's live calls and a private community where you can actually ask questions and there's updates to these changes, then you don't have to put in that effort and legwork as much as you would if you were doing it by yourself.
What would be the latest change that you think was massive on Amazon?
So it's actually one that's going to affect on March 12th. It's DD +7, delivery date +7. So on March 12th, the way it's worked prior to then is, as far as payments go from Amazon, when an order was shipped from an Amazon fulfillment center, those funds were available in your next disbursement. But now after March 12th, the shift is delivery date plus 7 days, which is DD plus 7. So now once the item is delivered, Amazon will hold those funds for an additional 7 days before those funds are released into your available balance. So, I mean, that's adding 10 to 12 days to your cash conversion cycle just right there. I think that's one of the biggest changes where sellers are going to feel the impact when that goes into effect in less than a month.
Yeah. One of the other questions that I have here is you just mentioned that part. How the best way to manage the cash flow with Amazon, because there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
And you as an experienced seller, I can imagine it's a lot to manage, and the cash flow is one of the biggest issue. What is the secrets, or how do you manage yours?
Yeah. So I think initially most people will start with credit cards. So we'll start there. That's how I started with my business, juggling 2 to 4 different credit cards, putting all my purchases on credit cards. And I think it's very important to not only have multiple credit cards, let's call it 3 in this example. So when you have 3 credit cards, you want to communicate with those companies and stagger the cut dates and due dates on those credit cards. So you have available cash throughout the month. So an example will be credit card 1 is due on the 1st. You make credit card 2 due on the 15th, and credit card 3 due on the 30th. And you want to align these with your Amazon disbursements back into your bank account so you always have funds to pay them. And then additionally, understanding your cut date, which is the final day that the charges are billed to you on that credit card, you want to place a majority of those purchases a day or 2 after that cut date, because you get to use credit card float, which could essentially add 20 to 25 days to your payment period. So instead of paying your credit card every 30 days, you essentially have close to 50 days of payment terms with those credit cards. So when you're juggling multiple credit cards and staggering them throughout the month, you really get to capitalize on that credit card usage and use free money to grow your business.
Got it. And let's say the credit cards are outside the formula. Let's say you're dealing with the vendors and you're dealing with the Amazon itself, the disbursement. What is your formula for that?
What do you mean? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the cash flow,
right.
Because when let's say you found a brand or you found a product that is selling well, and now you wanna continue growing, right?
Yeah.
And the cash flow is always going to be an issue. For me, I mean, I've been selling for 12 years.
Yeah.
Cash flow is always an issue for me. Yeah. So I don't know. There's any secrets to that, because it's always an issue. It's always an issue.
There is. So the first thing would be understanding the cash conversion cycle, right? Which is essentially the average time, and it's different for every single seller, but the average time it takes for you to buy a product where money disappears from your account until it's available back into your account. So for the average for most sellers is right around 35 to 40 days, where you purchase a product, you ship it to your warehouse or to your house, you prep it, ship it to Amazon, it becomes available, you sell it, you get the cash dispersed into your disbursement, and then it's available in your bank account. So understanding that time frame is very important, and then cutting down that time frame as much as possible is crucial as well. And the best way to cut down that time frame is a few ways, right? One, being efficient in your system. So paying a little more for quicker shipping to get to you or to Amazon instead of extended ship times. Additionally, leveraging net terms. And for anybody who doesn't know what net terms are, this is actually when a supplier will give you a 10, 20, 50, $100,000 credit for an X period of days, 14, 21, 30, 45 days, where you don't even have to pay for the inventory when you purchase it. They give it to you, and then you owe them later down the road.
Right. Yeah, the terms
and then additionally, go ahead.
Yeah, the terms are definitely a help.
They help
when you try to ask for the terms with the vendors.
Yeah.
So now my next question will be, how do you find those good vendors? What would be your approach and your way of doing it?
Yeah. So it used to be 2 primary methods. Now with AI, it's 3. The go-to would be Google searches, right? You hop into Google. You switch over to the maps option and you search by keywords like grocery distributors, New Jersey, beauty suppliers, Miami, right? And you start searching within your area or the area that your prep center's in to factor in shipping costs. And you start searching for suppliers, and it's an outreach game at that point, right? Your goal one is to create a list in Excel with 50 to 100 suppliers. And then goal two is to actually start picking up the phone and calling those suppliers. It's not 2020 anymore where you could email a bunch of suppliers and open up 5 or 6 accounts. You need to pick up that phone in today's day and age to separate yourself from the herd, because hundreds of other sellers are sending bulk emails to these vendors, and a lot of these vendors aren't even opening them. They're ignoring them. So when you pick up the phone, you increase your chances drastically, right? The second option would be to go to trade shows, right? And for anybody who doesn't know what a trade show is a place where these vendors, suppliers, distributors, and brands hang out. There's a very big one that a bunch of us are going to at the beginning of March in Anaheim, California, called Expo West, right? 5,000 different brands will be there. That means I want to be there. That means you should want to be there. So very important. And now the third, which didn't exist 2 or 3 years ago, is AI, right? If you have 2 or 3 good suppliers already, ask Chat or Gronk, hey, I'm working with this supplier. Can you provide me 5 of its top competitors in the space? And boom, you have 5 new suppliers to reach out to.
Interesting. Yeah, that part I haven't done it. Asking the ChatGPT the top competitors. That's a good one.
Yeah, game changer.
Tell me what is the way to approach, let's say, the trade show, right? You said the trade show, you go to a trade show, and as you know, just saying, hey, I'm an Amazon seller, sometimes this is just a red flag.
Yes.
What would be the best way to approach those brands or distributors?
Yeah. So step number 1 would be, whenever you register for a trade show, you never want to select that you're e-commerce or e-tail, because then on your badge, it's going to say either Amazon seller or e-commerce, and you're going to get immediately judged as soon as you walk up to a booth, whether it's a brand or a wholesaler. They're going to look down at your name badge. They're going to see your name. They're going to see your title, and then they're going to see your location. And finally, they're going to see what business you're in. And if it says Amazon seller, e-commerce, they're judging you before you even open your mouth. So you want to register as either like a mom and pop brick and mortar store, in retail, or even as a distributor or a wholesaler, even if you're not, right? Because you don't want to lose the conversation before it even happens. And then secondly, you got to do your research before going to the trade show. So any trade show, their website has what's called a vendor directory, which is a list of every single brand, wholesaler, distributor, vendor that will be at that trade show. So your job is to actually look at that list and research it prior to going, so you can map out which vendors you definitely want to talk to, so you have a game plan of who to talk to and what to say, because you've done your research prior to showing up.
Awesome. Great answer. Eric, let's say you have to start over, right?
Yes.
You only have $10,000. You know the Amazon game. What would be your first steps?
Yeah. So, and this is assuming I have the experience I have right now, or I'm brand new?
Yes. You have an experience. You know what to do, but you just only have $10,000 and you want to start scaling. What would be your approach?
So my approach would be probably to find a brand that's doing around 10 or 15, well, more like $15,000 or $25,000 a month. Because if I have 10,000 in purchase available cash, then I could purchase $10,000 worth of inventory, which would equate to about $25,000 in sales revenue. So I'd be looking for brands that are doing between $15,000 and $25,000 in monthly sales, and I would try to get an exclusive agreement with them where I am the sole seller, zero competition on their listings.
Love it. Any software that you recommend for our audience? Like, what software do you use for all your research and all your studies?
Yes. So on the wholesale side, the software we use to scrape wholesale catalogs and put together big purchase orders quickly is a software called Source Correct. It's the best UPC scraper in the world. I mean, it's very systemized. Not only can you scrape wholesale catalogs and put together purchase orders fast, But once the inventory is shipped to you, you can also scan and receive the inventory into the software. You can also submit discrepancy reports in the software for missing, damaged units, overages. And then you can also prep the inventory and ship the inventory all in one software. Absolute game changer. The second software would be Smart Scout. This is where I do a lot of brand research, right? What brand should I be targeting for exclusive agreements to partner with and bring them into my storefront, or even sell the products under their storefront? Smart Scout is revolutionary. And then the other two softwares that are like a must are an Amazon calculator like AZ Insight, and then Keepa obviously is a 100%. You need Keepa. If you don't have Keepa, you're not even an Amazon seller.
That's true. If you don't use Keepa, you just don't know what you're doing.
No.
Eric, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Your experience is always amazing, and I hope I see you around.
Yeah, absolutely, Aleksej. Appreciate your time as well, man.
Thank you.